Well, g'day guys, guess what? It's blog time and we're coming at you live from the house party. It's breakfast, so it's a bit noisy, there's a lot going on. This week's thought for the week is disappointment. Do you know what? In this life, you are going to be disappointed. Things come at you that are disappointing. You know, maybe it's exam results. Maybe it's the job that you didn't get. Maybe it's recognition that you're not getting. Perhaps it's your football team didn't do as well as you thought it was going to do. Or maybe it's the national team loses to a minnow team, which leaves you open to being ridiculed by certain people. Anyway, disappointments will come. Okay? And do you know the Bible actually has a lot to talk about disappointments? There's a lot of stories in the Bible where people are disappointed. There's a lot of times in the Bible where people actually get it wrong and they disappoint themselves. One of the stories in the Bible is of a man who builds his house. Well, actually, it's of two men who build their houses. One builds his house on the sand, and the other one builds his house on the rock. When we build our life on the rock that is Jesus Christ, I'm not going to say you're not going to be disappointed, because they'll come. But the rock is to hold on to Jesus Christ, and that gives you stability. Do you know, even sometimes in life, Jesus can disappoint us. Sometimes we're praying for something and we just believe God's going to give it and it just doesn't come. You know, sometimes we blame God for disappointments as well and we feel like God's let us down. In those moments, all I can tell you is hold on to God. You know, our story as we live in life is growing and moving, but it's when we link our story into God's story that we actually start finding that these disappointments of life don't mean much in the bigger picture. It doesn't mean much in an eternal sense. It doesn't mean much in terms of life and how we live it. Right, guys? So when we live life holding on to the rock that is Jesus Christ, those disappointments seem to melt away and we begin to live life anew. We begin to find things to be excited about again. And so in our disappointments, in that mix of life, we actually find excitement because of who we're following. And you know, I've been following Jesus for a long time now. I've been living a life of just following Christ. And you know what? It's taken me all over the world. It's taken me all over the country. I've played basketball in different states and different places for the state team because of what God's done in my life. I've ended up in England in a church in Harrogate because I've just held on to Jesus. And in my time, there's been plenty of disappointment. I've been disappointed by God. I've been disappointed by people. I've been disappointed by, yes, even myself. But do this one thing. This week, this is what I want you to think about. How are you holding on to God? If your whole world collapsed and fell in around you and everything was disappointing, hold on to this one thing. Jesus is the rock, and we build our house on the rock, and we live for Him, and we hold Him in our disappointments. We hold Him in our times of trouble, and we know that He loves us so much because God came down in the form of Jesus Christ and died on the cross for you. And He says, how much do I love you? I love you this much. It's amazing. All right, guys? Following Jesus is amazing, but you just have to hold on to Him. An old lecturer of mine used to say you need to lean into what God has for you. So this week, that's what I want you to do. I want you to focus in on Jesus. I want you to lean in on Him. I want you to pray harder. I want you to pick up your Bible and I want you to read it, okay? So anyway, that's kind of the end. Have a great week, guys. I'll see you at the next blog. And guys, peace out. You're gonna come.